I got a real good feeling that it's not going to be gold that destroys the manipulation in the paper market, but it's going to be silver. I've always thought about that. I mean, it could be gold. It's precious metals, one way or the other. But man, silver is the one. First of all, you can tell that the powers that be put most of their effort in manipulating silver. Yeah, they do gold too. But when gold was $250 and silver was $4, and then, you know, not that long ago, gold was 800 and something, and, you know, silver was in the 20s. So we're twice that, 20s, right? Let's just call it 20 to be fair. $20 silver. And 850, whatever, we'll call that 800 gold. 8 plus 8, 16. That's $1,600 gold. That's where we are right now. So $20 silver should automatically be $40 silver. But wait a minute, it's 27, 28. Huh. And always, it's the one that gets smashed the most. Therefore, it's the one you want to buy. It's manipulated down for your buying pleasure. That's not why. The bigger picture is what I said before about competing currencies. They can't allow it. Nothing can compete with the dollar. And again, gold and silver, they can't go to zero in value. Paper dollars and garbage like that can go to zero and have been destroyed, and then a new system has to come from it, new dollar or whatever, backed by something, usually after the epic fail of it collapsing, which is what the elite know, and they know the next currency is going to be backed by precious metals. They're hoping it'll be the world currency that they can say, well, this is why you should go with ours, because ours is backed by precious metals, and all you guys, the whole world, you've been using paper money all this time, and look where it left you. Half the damn population's unemployed, and this and that. Come use our new dollar. It's backed by gold and silver. Having said that, nice, interesting, complete fact. Complete data. Not skewed, not faked. If it's faked, it's faked downward, of course. They don't want to let you know what the real price, what the real amounts they sold are, right? They wouldn't want to let people know there's a stampede to buy something right now. No. So if anything, the number's not accurate because it's actually higher than what I'm about to tell you, not lower. But let's just be fair and say the U.S. Mint's data that they've put out is accurate, and this is spot on, you know, with what they've said. All right. The U.S. Mint is selling 191 ounces of silver for every 1 ounce of gold that they sell. Shocked? Does that sound surprising? It should, because actually it's quite shocking to know it's that high right this moment, you know, this past week at least. They are selling for every 1 ounce of gold 191 ounces of silver. So my trusty calculator is going to do a quick calculation. And again, these are silver eagles from the mint, so you know there's a $2 minimal spot price. It's probably $2 to $2.53, but we're going to call it $2. 191, and we're at $28 silver, so 28, 29, 30, right? Follow me? 191 times $30, right? That's where we're at. Equals $5,730. So we have one thing called silver, $5,730 versus 1 ounce of gold for $1,600. And again, there's, you know, $50 spot price above that, more than likely above spot price. So $1,600 gold is probably going to cost you $1,650 for an ounce, roughly. I remember when it was $80 over spot price, and it wasn't even, I don't even think it was high as it, you know, it is right now. When I saw that $80 spot price, which was probably at least over a year, I think it was in 2010, to be honest with you. I think, but irrelevant. $1,600 gold, $5,700 silver. And again, 191 ounces to get to that price, but there's a bunch of people in the room. Matter of fact, there's not 191, like I just said, there's 192 people in a room, and they're all standing there. They're all wearing silver shirts and silver pants, except one guy, the 192nd guy. He's wearing gold. Think about that. How out of place is that son of a gun compared to the rest of them? It's pretty out of place. That is showing you right now that there is massive more demand for silver than gold. And I am so happy to see that, Because that means people understand, I'm hoping, or is it just because silver is cheaper than gold and it's the poor man's gold is what they call it. So silver is what most people can afford, not that. Therefore, 191 people may only have 20, 30, 40, you know, $80, $100 to play with. And the one guy, he's got to have his $1,600 to play with. And maybe that's why they're going to silver. Doesn't matter. All that I care about, all that you should care about, is that people are flocking to silver. And silver is the one they manipulate the most. Silver is the one that they do not have in stock, as they claim they do, the most. Therefore, there's going to be some problems in the near future if this keeps up. So, out of... Now let's cover a couple things here. I'm reading some stuff from Silver's doctors, which led me to do this video. We're told, and right now, looking at the price of gold and silver, we're roughly 50 to 1. You know, averaging. 50, not 191 to 1, as this article says as far as being sold, but what, cost-wise, it costs right now roughly 50 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. It's actually about 54 to 1, but we're, you know, just trying to keep things simple. 50 ounces of silver will buy you 1 ounce of gold. If this data is right, it's telling me that the ratio is not 50 to 1, it's actually 190 to 1. Because there's 191 more people buying silver than gold. Now, naturally, this might be a little fluke, and it's just this month or just this week, etc. But the point I'm making is that silver, even at $27, $28, which is far above the $4 and $5 an ounce it was back in 2002, 2003, 2004, I think it started to go to $6 or so, thereabouts. Either way, wouldn't you like to have $6 silver, for God's sakes? Man, whew. Holy cow, would I like to have that opportunity right now. And even as I say that, my brain's telling me, bozo, stop talking about $6 silver. $27 silver is great. And if they destroy the market one last time to teach us all, stay away from those precious metals. See, you got killed on that one. At least the paper. And it's the paper they need to kill off. Any investor that's pulling paper, they need to destroy them, because if they destroy them, the price gets destroyed. It stops people from playing with silver, because the only way they play with it is on the paper market. That's what's setting the price. And then they may, or they still think, they'll have control. All right, we got the market somewhat under control right now. Yeah, but you just destroyed silver. And the U.S. Mint is out of control right now with orders. All the dealers around the country are running out of stock because of the damn prices we just did. Oops. But what other choice do they have? They can't show that their game's exposed. They can't show that the COMEX just defaulted because they don't have it. They never had it. Or they could. Terrorist attack happens and it just happened to hit downtown Chicago. CME Group's right there. The metals exchange. Man, Al-Qaeda, man. Al-Qaeda did it. Al-Qaeda had to have done it, right? Perfect. They'll have to have a reason for that. So, back onto this for a minute. As a matter of fact, not for a minute. I should be completely focusing on this. August sales. 7 days. We're in August for a week. And technically, well, let's see what August 1st was, because that was a Wednesday. So we have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. We have 5 actual days where you could technically purchase, because on the weekends I believe they're closed. I think at least one of those days. So we had 5 to 6 days of data here is what we're getting at. And in 5 to 6 days, first days of this month, August 2012, excuse me, 4,000 ounces of silver, again, or excuse me, gold, 4,000 ounces of gold versus 765,000, almost, you know, that's 750,000 ounces of silver. That's that ratio, 191 times more. We're in the first 7 days. So clearly, the mint is selling massively right now. What the hell's going on? Who's buying? I haven't heard any news. What's going on? Why are there so many sales right now? Is something going to happen in the future? Near future that some rich people maybe know about? I don't know. And they want to get their silver now before whatever happens. Let me go shake my magic 8-ball. Oh, signs point to yes. The magic 8-ball says. Okay, it must be true. So another side of the coin, I've mentioned this about 3 times, I think, in the last probably month, maybe 3 weeks, somewhere around there, that the COT report, which is, you know, from the COMEX, CME Group, etc., where it tells us what's happening in the silver vaults, you know, the 4 or 5 main vaults or whatever. Customer silver coming in, coming out, and dealer silver coming in, coming out. And we've noticed, that's what I mentioned 2 or 3 times now, is that there's been several 600,000 ounces or more, sometimes, removal of silver from the customer account. Or customer vaults, better put. Which is a pretty large amount compared to what we're used to seeing, watching these things for years. To just be, well, you know, maybe one here and there, all right. But then it was like that day, the next day was again, the 3rd day in a row again. Next week, another 2 or 3 days, 600-something million ounces taken out in each day. Well, here's another one for you. Another 1.8 million ounces of registered silver withdrawn from Brink's vaults. Wow. And another 688,000 ounces from Scotia vaults on Monday. You know, yesterday. As COMEX silver inventory volatility and massive withdrawals continue, according to my boys over at Silver Doctors. And they're right. The data comes from they got the COT report. Everyone can look at it. It's right there in your face. So, having said that, 1.8 million, not 600,000 like we were all excited about a few weeks ago, 2 or 3 days in a row. 1.8 million registered withdrawn from Brink's vaults alone. Now, and again, the 600-something thousand I keep telling you about, there's another 688,000 from Monday. Jeez. I mean, holy cow. So, why are people, or whoever's pulling their money out, and you know it's big players that have that kind of movement, be it, you know, to say, oh, I'm going to pull out 100,000 ounces of silver out of my Brinks account today, you know, come on. It's not you and me and people you and I even know or have ever rubbed shoulders with. These are big players, and they're moving it out of the system to have, obviously, in my eyes, to take possession of it, as I keep saying, have it in your possession. They know to get it out of the banks. They know what's going to happen. The vaults that JP Morgan runs, HSBC runs, the big guys run. You're not going to get your silver. Something's going to happen. So, what is this telling me? This is telling me silver, not that I, you know, as if I'm going to be shocked when I say this. I haven't said it 4,000 times already. Silver is that deal. Silver is the precious metal you want. As I've said before, I'll say it again for the millionth time. You'll be very happy with what happens to gold if you own gold. You won't be disappointed at all. Unless you decide one day, when this crap happens here shortly, it's going to happen soon, prices will skyrocket. And again, soon could be a month, could be 2 months, could be halfway through next year. In the scheme of this whole massive collapse, it's a blink of an eye, so don't even worry when I say short or soon. But silver is the coin you want. Gold will do well, but you're going to, as I said, if they compare, well, what did my silver investment do to my gold, or what did my gold investment do, which is all I stocked up on. Let me just take a look and do some number crunching here on what silver did if I spent the same amount of money that I did on the gold on that silver. Then they might be a little disappointed. Matter of fact, they may be more than a little disappointed. And then they'll probably come back and say, well, I still did phenomenally well, so I guess, you know, I kind of win. But man, I would have really won if I was in silver. And those who are in both, you'll do great, clearly, because both are going to do fine, but you'll be much, much happier with silver. And the more silver we take out, physical silver, out of the system, that's more silver that they beg for and need to continue their paper garbage game, which has no silver, basically, very little, that I'm telling you right now, they're taking it from other places like customers' allocated accounts, putting these flyers out for people who demand delivery. Okay, get some silver back in here, put the silver and gold back in the allocated accounts. Hopefully the customers weren't asking for it at this moment in time, etc. So, gold and silver are going to go extremely high. This is the proof. We're not even in a delivery month right now, and this is crazy to see some of the other reports of some of the silver leaving the vaults, due to deliveries being demanded. And when I say delivery month, what that means is every year, basically, there are certain months that they've deemed delivery months, because those months are where the most amount of people with paper contracts give the rest of the money to the contract. I'm demanding delivery, give me the physical silver. And gold has its own months that it is considered, delivery months for gold. They are not always exactly the same. Matter of fact, I don't know off the top of my head, but I know there may be a couple, 2 or 3, that are gold and silver delivery months, and then the rest of the months they're just not. It's like back and forth kind of thing. That doesn't matter, to tell you the truth. But what does matter is that we normally don't see people demanding delivery that much on a non-quote delivery month, such as right now. Yet we're 7 days into it, and thus far there are people demanding delivery more than normal. So what is that going to be for next? What's the sign going to be next month? Maybe they need to raid the silver at the end of this month during options expiration to crash it down a little bit and scare everyone out. Hey, don't you come in here demanding delivery. We'll squash you guys. And they have unlimited funds to do so, because it's the government that's actually holding those short positions, by the way, as we just discussed in my previous video. So they have unlimited funding, period. Doesn't get reported. It's probably not in the budget. It's just straight Federal Reserve numbers. Give us the money. We got to play with the market today. But the more they do that, that means the more fiat paper they have, or not fiat, but the more paper contracts they have to supply in the market to keep it under control. Which also means there's less physical silver, or gold for that matter, to supply those paper contracts should a tiny percentage of those people, which it always is a tiny percentage, say, I want delivery. But there's a threshold that will be met sooner or later. And let's just say 2% of all paper contracts demand delivery. And when they started manipulating heavy duty years and years and years ago, it wasn't that many people. They could get away with leveraging their paper to maybe 10 to 1, 20 to 1. They can handle things. And then more people wanted to get in the silver game. But again, they were always told by the experts, oh, you want to play silver, you don't go get the real thing. You go in the commodities market, you get a contract, they leverage you 10 to 1. All you have to come up with is 10% of what's really owed for that full contract, as if you own the real contract. But you only need to come up with 10%. So if it moves up $1 on a full-size contract, you just made $5 grand. And you only had to come up with 10% of the money. What are you doing? Why would you go get physical? Because then you got to buy all of it. You don't get leverage 10% of physical. No one's going to sell you 1,000 ounces of silver for 100 ounces worth of a price. No one in their right mind would do that. But they do in the paper markets. So 20 to 1 leverage, that used to work. They can handle things. That 50 to 1 leverage, that used to 100 to 1 leverage. We're probably at over 200 to 1 leverage. No one knows for sure. But I know it's well over 100 to 1. So, and let's just assume it's always 2%. No matter what they do, it's always 2% that keep wanting delivery, demanding delivery, roughly. You can clearly see they'll have to keep supplying money, and the more these paper contracts are out there, that means the more 2% actually grows, right? 2% of $100 is $2. 2% of $1, well, it's 2 cents. So would you rather have $2 or 2 cents? You get, right? So $100, 2%, $2. $1 is 2 cents. So what my example is, it's still 2%. It was 2% when you had $1. It was 2% when you had 100. The dollars in this example represent one paper contract, or a size of paper contract. I'm trying to keep it somewhat understandable in all my jargon. Probably more confusing than anything. But I think you get the point. So it's kind of like interest on debt. Well, I have a $100 credit card that I owe $100 on, and it's 2%. You got to pay 2% every month, $2 every month for interest? Pff, come on, dude. You're not in trouble because of that. No. But what if it was $20,000 or $200,000? 2% is a nice chunk at that point, isn't it? And that's what the physical is. So if it was 10 to 1, paper to real thing, no problem. 20 to 1, 50 to 1, 100 to 1, still no problem. Getting a little fishy, getting a little hard to get silver now, because that same 2% is now a higher amount of people needing that silver. And then now we're at 200 to 1 ratio of 200 paper contracts to one thing of physical silver that it represents. It should be 1 to 1, for God's sakes. If you're selling a contract, you better have the damn goods to go with it. Not 200 people all have a piece of paper that says they own it, and they all go to grab it. Why? That's my silver. It's got my serial number. Actually, they don't have serial numbers. We just have to have some silver for you. Well, what are these other 199 people doing behind me? Oh, they came to get theirs too. Well, but there's only one here. Yeah. Thank God you're first in line. Have a nice day. Grab it and run. That's how that's going to go down. So the higher they keep leveraging themselves, which is the only way they can play this game and keep these prices suppressed, by the way, is to slowly but surely keep stacking more paper, more paper, more paper, which means more leverage, more leverage, more leverage. Which also means the amount of false gold and silver that these people all think that they own, whether it's paper contracts and whatever, doesn't matter. They think they own it. It's a piece of paper that says they do. It's going to blow up in their face one day when this happens. Everyone's going to run for the exit doors. I need my silver. You don't have it. So then they're going to realize whatever money I've got left, or if they paid me back in paper dollars because they didn't have the silver, I'm going out in the physical market to get the real thing while I can, because it'll be clear as day that a run on silver and gold will be taking place and the prices will be skyrocketing. Not just skyrocketing because of that one reason, but because when you look at something that was leveraged 200 to 1, let's say, that means the whole world thinks, and I mentioned this the other day in my video, the whole world thinks there's 200 to, 200 contracts times 5, and this is just, again, there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of contracts. But this is a simple example. There's 200 contracts to one real physical thing. The whole world is being told, all the numbers we see, the COMEX report, the CME group, everything says there's 200 contracts, which means there's 200 physical things of silver, we're going to call it. And then one day reality hits. Someone came and grabbed that one thing. Now there's none left. Everyone's going to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. There's 199 people left. Out of 200, only one came, and you're telling me you're empty? There's no... How could you even sell these things if you don't have it? Well, it's kind of complicated. It's we were allowed to leverage things. Yeah, but 200 to 1, that's absurd. Well, I know, but... And they're going to give you a little hook, line, and sinker nonsense. So we've had this fake artificial supply that says there's 200 contracts worth of gold and silver. And then the curtain's removed one day, and there's only one. Does that mean the price technically should go up times 200 of whatever it's at? Absolutely. That's exactly what that means at face value. Pure math. If they claim there's 200 times what they have in possession, and today's price is $30 an ounce, let's say, 30 times 20 would be 600. Okay? 30 times 200 would be $6,000 silver. Again, that's on paper, math, whatever. The market and whatnot's not going to react that way, even with this happening. I don't think we'll ever see $6,000 silver. I do think we'll see $6,000 and $8,000 gold. I do think that my low estimates of silver, of where I thought the high would be, at worst case, of $300, not a chance in hell that'll be the worst case. My high for the silver was $600. I thought we'd see $600. I now think, after looking at all this, hearing things, $600 is probably going to be the minimum of, as far as wherever silver ends up finally going and touching the top and makes record history across the world forever. That top it hits, I think will definitely be over $600 easily, way over $600. I think not even $500 and $600 will be the minimum target that I'm going to put out there. Just if the powers that be somehow get control over stuff somewhat and still cause the prices to not go where they're supposed to, $500-600 silver minimum. That's my take on this. And as I've said before, if the world is in a bad situation and I don't like where my country's at, or I'm going outside and there's police all over the place and checkpoints and that kind of thing, if silver's at $100 an ounce, I'll sell all of it and I will move to somewhere rural, like where near Pastor Dow lives, where you're not going to have to worry about checkpoints and stuff. They're not going to be doing that in the middle of the country. They're going to be doing it in every major city, because that's where the population are. That's the ones they need to control, not the guys out in the country. Trust me on that. In that situation, I would sell at 100. I would. I'd probably sell all of it. And by that time, property prices will be so destroyed, even more than they are now, that even for you know, even like, let's say $50,000, you'll be able to find a fantastic piece of land and a house on it, because there ain't gonna be no banks lending money to no sheep when this happens, and there's, you know, 30-40% unemployment or whatever. No way in hell. Therefore, market prices or free market kicks in and says, no buyers, no buyers. Nope, no, because they can't get lending. Okay, prices got to drop. $10,000. No buyers. Oh, we got one buyer. All right, well, there's a million other houses to sell. Nope, no buyer. Go down another $10,000. Next thing you know, you're buying phenomenal property. Probably from sheep. Again, sheep who had no clue, and it's not their fault. I'm not picking on them. But from sheep because they had no clue. They were not informed. They didn't care to get informed. That never happened here, attitude. And I'm going to gladly go to that person. Sir, you've got a nice little farmhouse situation here. Bunch of acreage. Beautiful. And it's near my buddy, Pastor Dowell. I see it's been listed for, 90 days now at $50,000, $60,000. You still haven't sold it. I know. No one can get a damn loan anymore. Yeah, well, listen, I have cash. I also have silver. Would you prefer cash or silver? And knowing him, I'll take the cash. Good. Because I'll get to hang on to my silver. I'll sell a little bit of my silver. $50,000, please. Boom. Here you go, sir. Here's your cash. Here's your fiat money. Now go do whatever you're going to do. And now I got me a nice piece of land, property, living the good life. Not, and the good life isn't rich, 5 cars, 2 boats, a jet ski. No, that's not the good life. That's the bozo life, to be honest with you. And I have lived somewhat of that life before for about 1.5 years. And I'm glad it did not continue. And I can't get it back. Because the kind of money I was making for 1.5 years at one point in 2005 was incredible. But that day is long gone. I used some of that money to have kids in vitro with my wife. So some of the money went to good use. You know how expensive that is, especially back then. But I learned a lesson. I wasn't awake then. I'm awake now. I'm trying to use my knowledge, the things I've learned, to teach other people, whoever wants to listen. I don't care if people don't believe me. I don't care if people like my old ex-arch nemesis Bozo Beast. I don't care if he wants to bet every year. I bet we don't have $50 this year, silver. I hope not. To tell you the truth, I hope not. I want to buy more. I want people that subscribe to me who just are figuring things out to be able to go buy more at cheap prices. I actually need this to last as long as we can before it explodes in price, to tell you the truth, because I'm going to feel bad that I didn't wake enough people up in time. That's how I'm going to feel. And it's not my fault, but that's the kind of guy I am. That's how I roll. I'm going to feel bad that enough people didn't figure it out. And I may come in sarcastically one day too. Ha ha ha, I told you sheep so. I told everybody, get your damn silver. Look at the price today. That day will come. And it's not going to be me picking on people. It's going to be a serious video. But I may have to start it out that way. The old fake green screen bozo in his laundry room, and the guy who wears a sweater in his car doing videos on a budget, right? The old budget video guy was superior to these $200,000, $300,000 a year news guys and economists. His information was superior. No way. Come on. I've been right about everything I've been talking about for 2 years now. All this crap. The timing may not be what I would have expected 2 years ago. I thought we'd be there by now. Doesn't mean it's not coming. Doesn't mean it's not right around the corner. So timing, and this is a big thing that no one can really put their finger on and be a spot-on timing. This is a worldwide thing happening here. But the overall picture, my point of view, my whole view of this, it's right on. I'm telling you. And if anyone's been listening to me long enough, you can see it. Yeah, this guy definitely knows what he's talking about. Things he talks about, it's happening. Again, I don't remember anyone talking about Germany. Germany's the one that's going to bail out everybody, and they're going to dictate the rules, and they've got a great economy. And I'm over here saying, in more than one video, Germany's going to be in trouble too. Germany, do you have a central bank? Yes. Do you practice fractional reserve lending? Yes. Do you have a debt-based society like the rest of us? Yes. You're done. Germany's fine. All over the news this week, today even, yesterday, Germany, economy, record-breaking contraction, and they're in trouble now. Recession's hitting them. What? Huh? No. What, did the rain cloud just come over on accident? I mean, this is like an act of God, right? No, it's not an act of God. It's a matter of fact, it's a mathematical equation. That's obvious. If you print money, and every dollar you print has interest attached to it, you can never pay it off. Let me say that again. If you print money and every single dollar that's printed, whether it's a dollar bill, a $5 bill, a $20 bill, $50, $100 bill, doesn't matter. It has interest attached to it. Therefore, the principal is printed, but the interest is never printed. They don't print the interest. It gets worked in off the principal, but you have a net 30 normally to pay stuff at the interest. So, for in this little crude example, you've had 30 days. You got the money on day one. Meanwhile, they've been printing every day, day 1, day 2, day 3, all the way up to 30 days. So there's money in the system, so to speak, but all of it has interest due 30 days out to start. So at the end of the 30 days, you got to start making payments. Well, that's okay, because the last 29 days, they've been printing principal too, and it's been flooding into our system, and I've got my piece with my paycheck and this and that, so I can go ahead and pay that interest. But it can't possibly be paid off because they don't print the interest. It's that simple. And anybody who practices something so simple yet suicidal as that practice, fractional reserve lending, and that particular system, which came from the Federal Reserve, central banks, they all practice it, is going to end the same way. Which means United States too? Who do you think I was talking about? Yeah, I'm talking about Greece and those guys too, but I'm ultimately using them as examples as to what's to come here. Because who is the greatest debtor nation on the face of the earth? And as a matter of fact, is there even anybody in a close second place? No, and that first place person is us, United States. No one even comes close to second place. Like if this was a race, a running race, first place United States would look back and see miles, no one behind them. So this is how it's going to end. Take care.